Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are all coming to you live from UC Merced for the presentation today of UC Merced Transfer Student Panel. We are so grateful that you're here to join us this afternoon. I would just like to give you a couple of tips for participating with us today. During the webinar, if you need to adjust your audio settings at all, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. What you'll want to do is just click on that audio option, make your adjustments as necessary, and then you'll be all set for that one. If you'd like to participate in our chat feature today, we definitely hope that you will ask us your questions and we will get to those throughout the presentation. You can do so by clicking on the chat button on your screen. And also, if you would like to adjust your screen size, you can do so in the upper portion of your screen and just click on View Options and adjust that as you see fit. As a quick introduction for myself, my name is Ricky Hill, and I am an e-recruiter at UC Merced, as well as your moderator behind the scenes today. So once again, we'd like to welcome you to our presentation, and for now, I will hand it off to my colleague, Kia.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kia Tan. I'm our Associate Director of Diversity Engagement and Transfer Initiatives here at UC Merced. I'm really happy that all of you are joining us today. We have some of our current transfer students who are available to answer your questions. And as Ricky had just mentioned, you can go ahead and utilize the chat function. And when you chat, I'll go ahead and be reading those questions to our students to answer for you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our students so they can introduce themselves. I'll go ahead and start with Nancy.
Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Ventura. I'm from Fresno, California. I am a human biology major. My class standing is a first-year transfer student. Campus involvement, I'm part of TRB. I'm also a UROC scholar, and I tutor at the STEM Center, and I transferred from Clovis Community College. And now I will hand it off to my colleague, Emily.
Hey you guys, my name is Emily Hagan. I'm from Santa Cruz, California. I am a public health major. I am a fourth-year transfer student. I'll be graduating in December of this year. I am a TRB coordinator. I've been involved in the Public Health Society, and I transferred from Cabrillo College in Aptos. And now I'll hand it off to Ricky.
Hey guys, I'm Ricky Munoz. I'm from Los Baños, California. Fourth-year psychology major. Third year standing or second year standing transfer student, and I'm involved with Young Artists Movement as president and Pi Kappa Phi as public relations, as well as a TRB fellow. And I transferred from Merced College.
Thank you all for that introduction. So we are open for questions. If you guys want to ask them about how the academics are, what they're involved in, we are definitely open to that. Feel free to utilize the chat function. It's located on the bottom or the side of your screen. And as you send in your questions, I'll go ahead and I'll read those to our students. So I'll go ahead and pause for a minute to see if there are any questions. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. So the first question is actually for Nancy. Do you have any plans after UC Merced regarding your STEM major?
Yeah, so right now I'm looking into grad school, specifically in a biochemistry field or pharmacology. Initially I was pre-med or pre-pharm, but as I've taken more classes and learned more about research, I feel like that's where I'm heading. I will be applying to grad school this summer. And as far as which programs, it depends on the school, but I'm really looking into biochemical studies or pharmacology.
Thank you for that. Can I add just an extra question to that, which is how do you think UC Merced is helping you prepare for going into that in your major?
Okay, so my major is human biology. There's a lot of classes you can take. It's kind of like a broad major, and I've taken classes such as biochemistry, general biology, more in-depth biology, physics. So the classes that I'm taking right now, it's really research-based, and it's a lot of information. The more I go, the more in-depth everything gets. So I feel like I'm learning not only material, but also in the labs, I'm learning techniques and how to use different instruments and tools that will ultimately help me in my research that I plan to do.
Thank you. We have a question here for all of you. The question is, how is the transition going from community college to the university for you?
I could take this one. In community college, I feel like my professors were really gave me the tools and the knowledge of how to prepare for UC. The rigor, I feel like, was equally at the level at the UC. Some of my professors were had their doctorate in chemistry and biology. They were equally as passionate, and they really gave us the workload, and I feel the textbooks that we used equaled the amount that I feel like I should know by now. And not only professors, but I feel like I had a really good counselor. She was always there for any questions I had. She was flexible with the timing. She always knew what I had to do, the classes I had to take, and she was really open and flexible, which prepared me to transfer into UC Merced.
Thank you.
Yeah, my transition to the UC from junior college was also very smooth. The transfer center at Cabrillo, I feel, did a great job to prepare our students to make the transition from community college to the UC. They helped me a lot figure out exactly what classes I needed to take that would prepare me for academically so I could be successful in the university. And they also helped me they helped me with everything. From my counselor helped me like from stuff for like moving, like how it was going to be different, and also filling out my tag so I knew I would have be accepted into the school.
For me, I had kind of a different experience. I didn't plan on going to the UC. Like, I think I applied like in the September before my spring transfer, so it wasn't like that easy to transition. But I would say academically, the workload of community college is, I think, got me ready to transfer. Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Or Ricky, I'm sorry. We have a question specifically for you, similarly to what was asked for Nancy, but as a psychology major, how do you think UC Merced is preparing you, and what are your plans after UC Merced?
I actually am more into digital design and art. I'm planning on using my psychology degree for maybe like a humanities job, or like working with like an organization, having it art based as well as being psychology based. There's a lot of labs on campus to get you the experience that you need for psychology. I think that's one thing that's special about UC Merced. There's a really good psychology program. There's a lot of labs, a lot of development labs, a lot of parts of psychology that I didn't really know about, like such as like the psychology of seeing and vision and how that plays a part in our brain. And I use that a lot as an artist. Like, I'm more of an artist, I would say, before anything, but so that helped me.
There's someone on the line who I also forgot to introduce. We actually have our transfer, returning, and veteran coordinator here on the line, who is a former UC Merced student. I'd like to introduce Rosa and have her introduce herself to all of you. She too is also a psychology major here at UC Merced.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Rosa Hernandez and I am the TRB coordinator. I was a transfer student, transferred from Merced College to UC Merced as a psych major. I then went on to get my master's in counseling at the University of San Diego, and currently I'm in the application process to go for my doctorate program in education and leadership. So going back to the question about how did UC Merced psychology program prepare you for furthering, for me, it really helped. As a transfer student, I was able to participate in 3 psychology labs at UC Merced. So one of them was health psychology. So I did the Healthy to You text program with Dr. Cameron. And so I did different interviews with participants in Merced County talking about their eating habits, their exercise habits. Then I also did one for developmental psychology, and that focused on Valley teens as parents. So we looked at the development of their children. We looked at the relationship of the teen mothers with another adult, a female figure in their life. And then I also did another one with student equity and success, focusing more on African American and Latinx students at UC Merced as well. So all of these research projects really prepared me for a graduate program, really prepared me to do my own research. So currently, my research that I did for my master's thesis is going to be published with the Journal of Student Affairs with NYU this May. So it really, really helped. I got a lot out of UC Merced as a transfer student. It didn't stunt my growth at all. I think actually UC Merced helped me grow far more than any other campus could have let me, just because it's so new and very inviting to transfer students. So as a psychology major, you have a lot of options.
Thank you for that, Rosa. One of the questions our students are interested in knowing is, can you guys speak to the research opportunities here at UC Merced?
I personally don't have any experience with any of the research on campus. I don't know, Emily and Nancy.
So there's a program that I had mentioned earlier in my introduction called UROC, and it's basically like a paid summer internship to do research here at UC Merced. I haven't done it, but I was accepted to be a UROC scholar. And how it works, it's basically like grad school. So you talk to professors, you try to get into their lab, and then UROC will give you stipend for that research. It's an 8-week program in the summer. Like I said, I haven't started, but I'm really excited. I have a couple of professors that I want to work with in mind, but it's like graduate based, and it's focused towards graduate school and how you will be doing that process. If graduate school is for you, or what you're thinking of is graduate school. So that's one program that UC Merced offers for research.
Our next question is specifically going back to transitioning, not just academically, but also to the environment, the location, the campus. Can you guys speak to that transition process?
Yeah, I would say that definitely like transferring from a community college to a UC is kind of a big change no matter where you're coming from. I only came from Los Baños, which is about 35 minutes away, 40 minutes. And even then, just living alone and just getting used to living with other people and a whole new like atmosphere it's refreshing. I would say it's refreshing more than it's like, it gets overwhelming, and then it gets fun after that.
Yeah, I'll have to go off what Ricky said. When I first transferred to the UC, I felt a little bit out of place coming from Santa Cruz. It was like, kind of a culture shock. The city's a lot different. I didn't know anyone at the UC, and the population was a lot younger than it was at the community college. And the thing that helped me the most was actually joining the TRB program, because it gave me a space where I could build community with other transfer students, and it introduced me to different programs and all the resources that would help me out on campus, and it just allowed me to help me build that like peer group. So I had people that I could relate with on campus, and I didn't feel like I felt like I belonged there. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Would you guys, how would you describe the UC Merced culture?
I would just describe this culture on campus as everyone, to me, it feels like, and one of the reasons I picked the school is it's a UC, but it felt more like my community college than the other schools I visited. Like there's not as many students, and everyone knows each other. People say hi to you when you're walking around campus. You get to know all the professors. You can have personal relationships with them. It's easy to go to their office hours, get help from the TAs. Yeah, I would say there's a good culture on campus.
Also, piggybacking what Emily said, I feel like since it is a small campus, it's very um, inviting and easy to, like she said, get help with your professors. You know, a lot of people that you transferred with, you'll get to know. Um, it's a small campus, but it's actually bigger than what it seems, but it feels like a small campus community. And I feel like from the get-go, I feel like you'll feel the sense of community with everybody that you meet with. You'll see a lot of the same people walking around, but the campus is still really big. So I really enjoy that aspect of UC Merced.
Um, could you guys speak to the housing options at UC Merced and if you've utilized or lived on one of our either on-campus housing or off-campus on-campus housing, the Heritage Apartments? Can you speak to that experience?
Yeah, I lived 2 semesters in the Heritage Apartments when I first transferred here. One on the R Street Apartments, and then one on, it's like across from Rayleigh's. 2 different apartment complexes through the school. They're very, I would say, relaxed. It's more of like an apartment style. It's not like dorm style where everyone's like nagging you or something. You don't get like an annoying RA all the time. It's pretty, I like it. I liked my housemates, and you're actually allowed to like have preferences and stuff to who you want to live with and like people that fit more of your setting and ambiance, I guess. So I enjoyed it.
I live in Valley Terrace, which is a dorming complex in on campus. It's a lot like apartment style, but you still get that freedom and kind of independence as opposed to living like in dorms with like 4 different people in one room. In Valley Terrace, you live, it could either be, it's a suite and you can either live with 4 people or 6 people, but it's only 2 to a room and you get your own bathroom and common living space. So it feels a lot like an apartment style living, and but it still feels like you have that sense of freedom and you're not all clustered together. So I really enjoyed that, and it's kind of relaxing walking down to Valley Terrace. There's a lot of trees and flowers, and I really enjoyed living on campus.
Could you guys, if you do now live off campus, also speak to that transition, moving into living in the community in off campus?
I mean, I never lived in campus housing, but I can speak to living off campus. So when I moved to UC, I had a dog that I was bringing with me from Santa Cruz. And it's actually one of the reasons I picked Merced is because of the housing compared to the other cities I was looking at. The housing is way more affordable, and for the price of a room in another city, you can get a private apartment here. And it wasn't hard for me to find housing that would accept me as well. And yeah, I've moved 3 times actually since I've been at the school. And first I lived in an apartment, and then I decided to rent a room because it was more affordable. And the rooms, renting a room is also very easy for students. We have UC Merced classifieds, and there's also, I believe, rooms on the UC site. So yeah, it's easy to find housing and super affordable.
Thank you, Emily. We have a question here about class size. Can you speak to the class size, the average class size at UC Merced, specifically in your upper division courses, and also that academic experience, engagement with your faculty, maybe the graduate students who are TAs?
So for big lectures, I feel like, well, you still have a lot of people, 100, maybe 200, depending on the lecture. But then especially for STEM classes, you'll have discussions. So this is graduate student taught. The TAs, it's like a 20-person class, so you really get that one-to-one interaction with the graduate students, and they're really accessible and flexible as far as office hours and the questions. I feel like discussions are really it's helped me a lot with the material because you see it in lecture, but then in discussion, you put it into practice. And you also have labs. Labs are pretty small too, I would say 20 people, maybe less, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, I still feel like even though you might have big lecture halls classes, you'll still get discussion in labs with less people.
I think I think the biggest class I've had in 2 years attending the university has been 120. And so it's really easy to get to know everyone and be able to talk to the professor and the TAs. And the other thing that's nice is, at least for me personally, is going through the classes, like the core classes of my major. Since it's a smaller school, you get to know the people that are doing the same major as you, and then you end up having them like seeing them repeatedly over the semesters. So you get to like build a community of people that you're all working towards the same goal, and you get to know everyone that's on the same path as you.
In your transition here to UC Merced, what would you say that experience from community college, like what did you do there that helped you transition here, in terms of, if you would to advising special programs, or any resources or people who helped you?
For me, I actually had this professor in my community college. His name was Brian Murphy. And I hadn't had my mind made up whether I was going to go to a UC or CSU. And he actually held this like field trip to both like a CSU and a UC. So yeah, I got to see like, I guess what is more like the big difference between the two. Like UC is more research based, CSU is more like, I don't know. I feel like he was for me, that professor was the guy that kind of, it's Joel Murphy, sorry. But that was for me, yeah.
What really helped me was going to office hours. So like I said, some of the lectures, they can seem kind of big, but going to office hours, even to the TA's office hours, they're graduate students, they know a lot more than we do. It's helped me because I know community college classes were relatively small. In my chemistry classes, they were, I don't know, like 30, 34 people. So it can seem like there's not much of an opportunity to see your professor, but there is a lot. They're really flexible, and their office hours, if you can't make their office hours, you can email them, say, hey, can you meet at this time? Sometimes they hold extra office hours if there's a midterm coming up, which I really appreciated. Going to TA's office hours. Yeah, that's how I feel like that helped me in the transition from like a smaller classroom setting to now the UC classroom setting.
Can you guys speak a little bit to the application process from when you applied to when you got your decision? How is that transition?
So I came to UC Merced on a tag, but I actually, that transition was a little bit, I mean, I could have done it better because I waited too long to fill out the paperwork. So I actually ended up having to, wait a whole extra semester. I had to take a semester off before I could start school. So other than that, everything ran smoothly. Yeah, I had to take a little break.
Yeah. I actually submitted my application after, like, I decided I wanted to go after the submission process was already over. And I thought that they weren't going to accept me, but they were actually really lenient on the whole thing. And it was a pretty speedy process. I think it was, for the most part, it wasn't too overwhelming with the paperwork and transitioning. I would say just like getting into classes and just trying to figure out where to go from there is kind of like the trickier part when you're already in there,
Thank you for that. What is there to do for fun at UC Merced?
So there's a lot of stuff on campus and off campus. On campus, there is, we have different events semesterly. We have comedy shows, music shows. We have movie screenings. Different organizations and clubs always have fairs and like theme-based weeks, at least for on campus. You want to speak about the off-campus stuff, Emily?
Yeah, so off campus, I've always lived off campus. So when I came here, I used to disc golf a lot in Santa Cruz, and I'm really into fitness. So I was happy to find there's a disc golf course. There's tons of gyms in town. We have bowling, and actually bowling's in Atwater, but there's pool halls. There's roller skating. There's a bunch of coffee shops. I think we have open mic night once a week, and there's trivia night downtown. And yeah, there's movie theaters, the Playhouse, Culture Arts Center downtown, right? And also there's Lake Yosemite, which is a beautiful place. That's my favorite place in the whole city.
Yeah.
Are there any clubs or organizations you guys think would be great for transfer students to participate in?
I would say all of any club, or just depending on what you want to do, whether it's professional, academic, recreational, or if it's just hobby based. If there's anything that you like, there's probably an organization or club for it. There's like a DJ club. There's like, I think there used to be like a Brony club. There's a Super Smash Brothers club, pre-law club. Anything. I would say that we have a program, the Transfer Attorney of Veterans. So we kind of have like our own community there, and anyone that's transfer is welcome to join in.
Yeah, they have really good pre-health clubs. There's a pre-med central. There's pre-health fraternities, I think, as well. Chemistry club, nursing club. They're all pretty accessible. Like Ricky said, if you can think of a club, there's probably a club. Email them, say you're interested. Even if the times don't work as far as meetings, they send announcements. They have guest speakers come into clubs. They do events. So I think anything that you're interested in, there's probably a club. And I think at UC Merced, they're really good with notifying you on events and events that they hold.
Yeah, and this summer that's my big goal for the TRB program is to start creating transfer specific clubs and organizations. So one of them that we're looking into joining would be a National Honor Society for our transfer students. Another one is creating a non-traditional student association on campus. And the third one would be a parenting club. So for students who are currently parents, start an organization just for you guys as well to offer those supports.
Thank you, guys. Let me see. We actually have a bunch of questions, so I apologize. I'm scrolling because they're moving through it as I'm asking them. A specific question for all of you. How is the food at UC Merced? Since you have been here for 1 or 2 years now, can you speak to the food experience?
Yeah, so I live on campus, and when you live on campus, you get a meal plan. The meal plan can range from 2 to 3 to unlimited meals a day, and mostly you'll be at the pavilion. So if you get a chance, or if you've already been to UC Merced, the pavilion is like this big structure by the pond, and it has a lot of variety as far as types of cuisine that they offer. You have your salad bar, sandwich bar. There's always fresh fruit. So I really enjoy that. Sometimes I'm in mood for pizza, or I'm in the mood for a salad, or sometimes they have like themed cuisine nights. Like I think they had Greek, Italian, anything you can think of. There's vegetarian, vegan options. I really love their breakfast. That's probably my favorite. But yeah, there's a lot of variety, and if you probably think of it, they probably have it.
So yeah, I live off campus, and I like to save all my money to travel. So I do not buy food on campus. However, there's great options for people who live off campus or commuters to be able to eat on campus. Up behind the TRB lounge, there's a whole kitchen for students, where there's a full-size refrigerator and 2 microwaves and a toaster, and so every day you can go in there and put your food and be able to like heat up your lunch. I even see people like, you know, throwing little things together last minute. So that's really nice. It allows you to be able to bring food to school and not worry about carrying it around with you to all your classes or it going bad if it's super hot out.
Um, I personally like the other dining centers. So we have the pavilion, and then we have what we would call the, I don't know how you guys, if you guys know how to pronounce it, Nancy or Emily, the yolk, the
No.
original.
DC.
We just call it the DC, but it has like an official name. There they have like different like, I guess, restaurants from Merced will actually have their own little stands there. Like we have Little Taste of India, we have Sam's Cafe, we have Quickly. So we have boba on campus there, which is a really cool option. That's new. I like getting the spam musubi a lot. There is, I would say there's another Mexican restaurant inside that dining center. So it's a lot of just mixed stuff in there. I enjoy.
We're getting a few questions about student service. Can you guys speak specifically to any student services we have for students with disabilities or LGBTQ, undocumented students, any of those services on our campus?
So I know for LGBTQ plus, there's like there's a Lambda Alliance. So we have our own, like in the first floor of the library, there's a whole lounge and for resources, and we even have counseling. There's clubs for LGBT. I don't know, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rosa.
And then if any of you who participated in DSPS at your local community college are needing those resources or those accommodations here at UC Merced, it's not called DSPS on our campus. It's called Learning Accessibility. So it's also located in the Bright Success Center. So that's the second floor of the library. You can go ahead and talk to Drew or James. Those are your contact points. And they will work with you and your professors to make sure you get the accommodations that you need. If any of our students are coming in and they are veterans, TRB is a great resource for you as well, as we do help veterans. We also have a veterans counselor located in CAPS. CAPS is our counseling psychological services on campus. So if you need to speak to someone one-on-one regarding like anxiety, depression, just anything mental health, if something's weighing you down, you can talk to CAPS and then they'll help you with that as well. And go ahead, Nancy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about CAPS too. As far as Undocu, there's an Undocu lounge on the 3rd floor right by where we're located in the library. They can point you to services. You can hang out there. Other services, we're a service, TRV. If you ever have questions as far as your transition or anything here on UC Merced, we're always a good resource. The Students First Center will help you with like any general questions. It's currently located on the 1st floor of the library. I believe it'll move in fall 2020, but that's a good point of contact for any like good general questions for financial aid. Veteran affairs, you can also meet with the counselor there. Admissions too, we have an admissions office. So yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody who participated in like the Next Step program or identifies as former foster youth, we also have the Guardian Scholars program on our campus as well. We work really closely with them and we'll continue to work closely with them to host events like socials and workshops, professional development, study sessions. So there's a lot of options for you. I would say your best bet if you're looking for a service would be to visit the Bright Success Center. So again, that's on the 2nd floor of the library. And if you just go up to anybody in that office and say, hey, I'm this and I need help with this, there's a program I guarantee you probably already created to help you, and we'll connect you with the right people.
Thank you. There is a question specifically about orientation. So do you guys know if we have a transfer student orientation?
Yeah, so we do have a transfer specific orientation. And if I remember correctly, I think Emily, you worked it right last year?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The transfer orientation, I worked it and was part of it when I came. It's only transfer students and it's usually a lot smaller than the regular orientation. And there's a little bit different focus because of you're not coming, you're coming from a junior college, community college, and not from high school. So it's geared more towards that. I don't know, is there any other like specific questions about it or?
Not that I see on the feed. Maybe can you talk a little bit about how, I know that there's a pre-orientation orientation, right, that you do online. Maybe talk about that for some of our admitted students so they know what to expect about preparing for orientation.
Yeah, I mean, I did it a couple years ago, so I don't know if I remember everything, but I know the pre-orientation was a online program that you had to complete that kind of preps you for what the day is going to look like and what you're going to learn when you actually show up to orientation, so you know what you're going to expect throughout the day.
Yeah. Is there anything that you two, I wasn't sure if Nancy or Ricky had anything?
There's food. No, I feel like it's a pretty long day, but it's a speedy process. Like it looks long. It's like it starts pretty early and it ends at a decent time. I remember, for me, I didn't get to do like, I think you get to like walk through the our big statue, like the New Beginning statue. So they walk you through that, and there's like little ceremonies for you. So it's a pretty like special experience, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say I met a lot of my friends during transfer orientation. So a lot of the people that you meet during orientation, you'll probably see a lot during your journey here at UC Merced. So I think that's pretty special. You'll really form a bond since it is a smaller orientation. I really enjoyed that. You'll get to know campus resources and you'll get to meet your academic advisors and then see what you have to do next as far as like registering for classes and getting to know the campus. So, yeah.
Thank you. There's a question here about Workstudy. Do you guys, any of you work on our campus, and how's the process for finding a job? And if you do have Workstudy, how does that work?
I've never personally had to do work study, but finding a job on campus, there's like a portal for it, and it has like different positions, and based on like the different schools for natural sciences, Shaw, all those different counterparts have their own positions, as well as like the dining center is always hiring.
Yeah, I have to say, also, just to put a plug in, the TRV program is currently hiring, and I believe that we are holding two spots, if I'm correct, for new transfers for next semester. So if you're interested in working with us, you can go to the TRV website and there's information on how to apply.
Emily, can you remind everyone what TRV stands for?
Oh yeah, it's a transfer, returning, and veteran program. So we offer resources to all transfer students, veterans, and returning students, including workshops, study sessions. We have a lounge where we offer coffee, free Scantrons. We have snacks. There's printing services, and it's a great place to hang out and meet, build a community with all the other transfer students on campus. And yeah, we're on the 3rd floor above the Students First Center.
Thank you for that. There's so many questions. So I want to just tell the folks on the line, feel free to keep sending them in. I'm going to try to read through them as fast as I can. And if we don't get to it, I'll be privately messaging you some of your answers to your questions and so forth. We have a question here about transportation. Can you speak a little bit to how transportation works on campus, and if you have your own vehicle that you brought, how that process might look like?
Okay, yeah. So when I moved to Merced originally, I was planning on parking on campus, getting a parking permit and walking to my classes. And after going to orientation actually and seeing where the parking lot was located and the price of the parking pass, I decided to not do that and just use the Cat Tracks bus system, which I think is way preferable to parking on campus because first of all, it doesn't cost any money. It goes all over the city and it drops you off a lot closer than you would be if you parked on campus. So, and the buses run 7 days a week. And also, other than Cat Tracks, with your UC Merced ID card, you can also use any of the other city buses in town, which is really nice.
Do you guys know if we, can you guys speak about any of the learning communities we have on campus?
Yes. So actually, we have a living learning community. Next year, it's going to be called the TRB LLC. So basically, you'll be housed with transfer students in Valley Terrace, and we will be hosting workshops, socials, professional development events that are geared towards transfer students that will help transfer students build community, learn about resources, professional development, like resume workshops. We're going to have a LinkedIn workshop. We'll also hold study sessions for our residents. So when I say our, it means that TRB will be doing like the programming for the LLC, so it'll be tied to TRB. So once you do your housing application, which is now open, so if you do decide to live on campus and want to be a part of this living learning community, you can select that you want to be part of the TRB LLC. And yeah, we look forward to having you guys. But there's also other living learning communities. There's Afro House, there's a leadership one, there's Fiat Lux. There's probably more, but off the top of my head, those are what I can think of. But yeah, as far as deciding which ones you want to live in, that'll be on your housing application.
Thank you, Nancy. There is a question about childcare. Do you guys know about our childcare facility on campus? Do you know any transfer students who may have children and how that process, how they navigate that process?
Yeah, so on campus, we do have a child care facility. So that's our Child Development Center. It's actually like one of the very first buildings in front of the UC. So it's very convenient for parents to drop off their kiddos and then head on to class. They save spots for faculty, staff, and of course students. If you are currently a student who has a child and they're not going to school just yet, if they need that daycare facility, and you're thinking about attending UC Merced, I highly, highly recommend contacting the Child Development Center now to get on the list, because there is a wait list typically, so get on the list now. I think it's kind of similar to most community colleges where there is a wait list. I believe I don't know exactly how much it costs, but I know the cost does change if you are a student, so it's not as expensive as if you were a faculty member. So there is that option for you. We also offer, for transportation, going back to transportation, we have a free bus for our students. It's called Cat Tracks. So it goes all the way around, and they have bus stops near the other schools as well. So if you need to take the bus to pick up, your little one and then walk home, there's that option for you too.
Thank you, Rosa. Are any of you involved in any Greek or sorority fraternity life on campus? Can you talk about the process of how to get involved in one of those?
Yeah, so I'm in a fraternity, Pi Kappa Phi. The process is different whether or not you're in a fraternity or a sorority. There's like a whole rush week, so to speak. It just depends on the semester whether or not it's like 1 week or 2 weeks, either fraternity or sorority. It's really fun. I can't say too much because a lot of the stuff is No. but yeah, it's fun. It's a cool process. Our Greek life is actually really like, I would say it's not like what you see on movies. It's nothing like movies. There's no houses. We're not allowed to have any chapter houses, which is kind of lame, but it's just to make sure that, like hazing doesn't occur. And yeah, it's very close knit. It's not a lot of like fighting between like organizations. It's chill. It's fun.
Yeah, so when I was a transfer student, I joined Tri Delta. So that's a Panhellenic sorority. So it's a national sorority. It's a social sorority as well. So we focused more on social gathering, and then we had a philanthropy, so like a community service aspect. The sorority fraternity like lingo of it would be like a philo. So our philo was St. Jude. So my sorority focused more on fundraising for St. Jude. Like I said, I was a transfer student. I really liked the fact that they did not judge me for being a transfer student. It was that never came up, to be honest, in any of the conversations. They welcomed me as they would welcome any other traditional student. I was showered with gifts from my big, just like any other student would be if they joined a sorority or fraternity, which is really nice. And my big was a traditional student, so she was not a transfer student, but she still was there for me, gave me advice for preparing for grad schools, for how to navigate the UC system, what classes to take. So it was really nice to have that. And it was also, to be honest, one of the easiest ways I made friends on campus, because coming onto campus, sometimes I felt a little alone because I was a transfer student and I didn't know everybody. But having that option of joining sorority really automatically from there, I had like 100 friends on campus. And then those friends had friends because of all the other sororities fraternities on campus. So it was the easiest way for me to make friends and to establish a community on campus.
Perfect.
Thank you, Rosa. We have a question about sports. Do you guys have any experience with our sports on our campus?
I do not.
I know.
That's okay. So we do have, I'll just go ahead and answer that really quick for everyone. We do have everything from club sports to intramural sports to competitive sports. We're part of the NAIA division. So depending on what your preference is, club sports are for fun. So you can create your own club sport and you do compete. There's some competitiveness to it, but they're not part of a division. And then intramurals are more for fun and they compete, but really it's not as competitive. And then we have 4 sports that are part of our NAIA division, and that is soccer, men's and women's soccer, volleyball, cross country, and basketball. So you can find more if you visit our athletics website, but we do have sports here at UC Merced. We are just about to open up our swimming pool next year too. So for those of you who are coming in for fall 2020, you'll be able to see that as well. All right, so let me see. Next question. How easy is it to communicate or get an appointment with your academic advisor?
I've found it fairly easy to get to communicate with my academic advisor over email, a little bit harder to meet with her in person. So every time I've tried to get in touch with her email, it's really, and you can do a lot online, but I would have to say if you need to see them in person, to make sure you have enough time so you can schedule your appointment out kind of far and not wait till the last minute.
I would say in my experience, I've usually just used walk-in hours. So I'm just walking in and just having a one-on-one with them. It's usually all right, speedy. They're pretty, I would say before you go in as a transfer student, you actually have to like make this whole grad plan. So they're able to like help you after you've already filled it out so they know specifically what you want. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Next question is, can you speak a little bit to the diversity on our campus?
I would say our campus is very diverse. We have a lot of different types of groups, age groups, I feel like coming from community college, there was a lot of types of students, and I feel like it's the same here. We have different backgrounds, age groups. I feel like our campus is probably the most diverse out of all UCs, and I really appreciate that. Um, so I feel like it was like an easy transition from community college to here at UC Merced.
Thank you, Nancy, for that. And I'll just add really quickly, we have a lot of programs within our Office of Student Life that support diversity efforts, everything from women, students of color, social justice, LGBTQ+. So there's a lot of resources in the social, academic, programming to support our students in their experience, regardless of where they come from and what experience they bring to our campus. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on and look at the next questions. Let me see. So can you guys speak a little bit about let's see, that's a sports question. I'm sorry. Can you guys speak a little bit about maybe the classroom experience in terms of working with any of your faculty, if you've done research with any of your faculty?
I have not.
I would really advise students, this was the advice I was given, and so I would give the same to all of you, is that if you really want to do research or you're interested in research, talk to your professors and talk to your TAs. Simply just ask, what are you doing research in? If you don't know what their answer is, if they give you an answer, you're like, I have no idea what you just said, research that research. Kind of, get a feel for it, look it up, see if that's something you're interested in. Then go back to your professor or to your TA and say, hey, I'm actually really interested in this topic. Do you possibly have room in your research lab so I can participate? I did this a lot. That's how I was able to participate in so many labs as I did. Another thing I did too is if you really, really want to do research, what I did my second semester at UC Merced was I went onto the psychology webpage and looked at all the faculty members. Every faculty member who listed their research, I emailed all of them and told them, I want to be in your research lab. And from there, I got a couple responses. Also, typically, faculty members are always doing research and they might mention it in your class. So, for example, I was taking sociology of education and my professor mentioned how she was going to fly to New York to get a grant for her research. So I knew she was doing research. And so I waited a couple of weeks and I asked, I was like, how did that meeting go? Did you get the grant? She said, yeah, I got it. And I was like, great, can I be part of your lab? And I was part of her lab and I got credit for that. I got 4 units for being part of her lab. And the research I did with her is now going to be compiled into a book. And it was all because I asked a question. So ask if you're able to, if you're interested, please ask. You're only hurting yourself if you don't ask.
Thank you for that, Rosa. So it is now 1:56, and we have our last question. So before I turn it over to the students, I just want to say thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And I'm going to go ahead and just ask the last question to the students, and then Ricky Hill, our other moderator, will go ahead and wrap us up. So for the students, why did you choose UC Merced?
I would say I chose UC Merced personally because it was close to home and it's a beautiful campus. It has great research opportunities, as you can tell. The psychology program is awesome. There's so much diversity I didn't know in psychology until I came here. And yeah, mainly because it was close, so yeah.
So I chose UC Merced because it offered the most opportunities for me. Also, when I came to visit the school, I just really liked the vibe of the campus. But I got a scholarship to come to UC Merced, so I was able to come here and know that I could graduate with minimal debt. And also the housing in Merced was so much more affordable than other cities. And I also like the fact that there was less students in the smaller class sizes.
I chose UC Merced because of my major and career path. Coming in, I wasn't sure if I was pre-med, pre-pharm. At one point, I was pre-nursing. So the human biology major that I'm in really gives me the flexibility as far as like the classes that I have to take. So for pre-med and pre-pharm, although a lot of the classes are similar, like the prereqs that you need to get into those professional schools are similar, they can differ. But choosing this major, which a lot of CSUs and UCs didn't have, I was able to just be part of this major, but also like right now, I feel like I'm decided on on grad school, and the classes that I've taken so far, I don't have to take any additional classes because they're all part of the major that I'm in.
All right, thank you guys all very much for joining us this evening. I recognize that we did not get to all of your questions. I just want to let you know that we will be hosting additional weekly chat hours with our transfer students that you can actually just log on and chat with our transfer students every week. We also have weekly drop-in advising hours. So if you are interested in just chatting with one of our advisors and having them pre-advise you for UC Merced admission, we can go ahead and do that as well. All you have to do is go to our webinars website, and it is admissions at ucmerced.edu/webinars, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, though, and say thank you very much for joining us, and turn it over to Ricky Hill, our other moderator, to go ahead and close out this chat.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kia. And for everyone today for joining us during this great webinar. We had some wonderful panelists today. A big thank you to not only Kia for helping us with moderating today, but also to the other Ricky who was on answering great questions, Rosa, Nancy, and Emily. Once again, we would like to give you a big thank you for joining us, and that website for the recording of this session as well as others is admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. Again, that website is admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. We do have a few other sessions coming up I'd like to mention. We have something this afternoon starting at 5 p.m. that is part of the first year student research opportunities with the UROC program. We have a financial aid understanding your award letter that will be happening tomorrow evening. There's also a next steps for transfer students on the 10th, and another UROC presentation for transfer students specifically for research opportunities coming up on the 14th. And that's just a handful of things that we do have on our schedule. So please take a look again at admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. You will find a long list of all of those opportunities coming up through the month of April and part of May, as well as the recording for this session today. So if you would like to get a replay of this, that will be available within just a couple of days. So once again, we would like to go ahead and also share some contact information with you. If we can get that up here for you. There you go. And so we'd like that to be offered to you for the contact information for Office of Admissions. That would be transfer@ucmerced.edu. Also the phone number there for the Students First Center, who can field admissions questions at 209-228-7178. We also have the TRV contact information, which again, TRV is Transfer, Returning, and Veteran Services, and their email address is trb@ucmerced.edu. So all of that great contact information for you if you should have any follow-up questions. And one last time, we will give you admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars for the recording for replay, as well as upcoming events. On behalf of UC Merced and the TRV today, we would like to just offer a big thank you for you joining us. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.